Morning. Let's see how this thing works. This is new to me, so I'm kind of figuring this out as we go. I don't know if there's like a raise hands or if everybody can be talking at the same time. You're the only person in here, so let's see how this works. Let's see if anybody else joins too. I don't know how that's won't be very much of a competition if you're the only person in here. Can you hear me? Yeah, I should have been promoting this earlier. Terrible timing. Awesome. Maybe I'll post a short and see if people get the notifications. I know I'd be sleeping if I had to wake up this early. Are you in the US? Yeah, Central. Jesus Christ. 3 a.m. It is, 10 in the morning here. Let's see, let's get a short going. Oh, there we go. Cool. Got you too, Junior. Central time zone, is that what, like Illinois, Minnesota? And Portugal's nice, man. That's actually what brought me over to Europe. Kentucky, nice. Yeah, I got half of my family in Kansas, so somewhat close to there. I'm going to do a quick short video so people who just wait for notifications can maybe see it. And I have one person from Hawaii. His name's Leonardo. He donated, I think it was like $22 for the competition. So it may make his piece a little bit bigger. But I'll ask you guys what you prefer. If you prefer, there's two different wheels. There's one where it does a weighted wheel. So like say somebody donated $20, it makes their portion of the wheel bigger. Or there's another wheel where say they donated $20 and we do a slice of pie for each ticket for their donation. So it kind of separates it. Whatever you guys prefer. I'll do this video real quick. It's a NC Hammer short for the people who wanted to do the live competition or just wait for notifications. And this is essentially the short that I am posting. So check out the live and I will see you guys there. We got Junior Carlos and Tyler already in the live feed. So it's really up to you. What Leonardo did is he sent it to my PayPal and it was in euros. So if you tell me the dollar amount, it does the transaction difference. But it would just be accumulating whether I assume PayPal is the most convenient because it's, I guess, not as shady. I can always send it directly back to you guys or let's see. Oh, you guys got to let me know. I don't even know where I can check that out at. This is my first time doing live, so I have no idea. Received a gift membership. I don't know. Maybe I got to check YouTube and see what that is. What I assumed is it would tell me the exact amount people were donating. Maybe I can see sent 5 NC Hammer crypto gift memberships. What is the gift membership? But pretty exciting news with XCN, huh? Let's see. Finally got a little bit of a pump. And the way I had to call it a competition because apparently it's illegal for me to give out money, whatever the fuck that's about. But if I make it a competition, then it's legal. I'm just abiding by the loopholes. So competition is going to be pretty basic stuff. It's just to be able to bypass. Let's see. You know what I'll do? What did it do for you guys when you did the gift membership thing? Did it say like a certain amount? Did it? I don't know anything about gift memberships. I was gonna post the. I can post the link for the PayPal, and it'll all go to a PayPal, and then it'll tell me who sent it. So if there's not enough donations, I can do diversification and send it back to you guys. But I don't know. I can't even withdraw the money that gets sent to YouTube because I need $100. I don't have $100 yet. And you guys donated to the channel directly. Let's see. It doesn't say anything in my analytics. I don't know how that's going to work. This is piss poor planning on my part. Maybe it doesn't show me the donations till I finish, like in the live stream. Maybe you guys, what you have donated, you let me know what you donated. God. That's bad planning on my part. I'm gonna send the PayPal link. So if you guys send it to the PayPal, then I can do it. And if you guys send more to the membership donations, I'll try and find a way to keep track of that and then send that back to you guys when I can get a payout from YouTube. But I think PayPal would be the easiest. So then it goes somewhere and I can still send it back because I can't pull any money off of YouTube at the moment. And if you guys did do the gift membership, like I see Rico Hawk, Undo Dose, D Rock, and Marina, all those people. You tell me what you sent, and I will keep track of it, give you guys a token for that or a ticket. Let's see. What was the website? There's 2 different websites for Spin the Wheel. Let's see if I can pull that up. Pickerwheel.com. Check that. And then the other one, Wheel of Names. Okay, let's see, sure. New wheel. All right. Always appreciated, Junior Carlos and Tyler. I'm trying to give back to you guys because I mean, I've spent a ridiculous amount of time starting this channel. I've tried YouTube before. This is my first time talking about the things that I'm interested in, which is obviously nothing but crypto. Um, and I know I may not be Mr. Beast and don't have millions to hand out, but I figured it's a fun way to do donations. It's New Year. And we almost have enough money to help with one surgery. Some of these things that these guys do, it's pretty insane. Um, like, say it's $100, they have to remove like the ovarians from a dog that's really inflamed, but the owner's like, I don't want to spend $100. Well, that's essentially what would be going to save that dog's life, and a lot of the dogs get put down. There's actually a famous Spanish trader. He's like, oh, pay me $3,000 and I'll give you guys a whole course rundown. This guy actually brought his dog into my partner's veterinary clinic, and they did all the analytics, got the dog all set. It was healthy, whatever. It came out all happy, saw the owner and died, like had like a anxiety or panic attack. And then that trader took one of the nurses to court and was like defaming the person, trying to say that they're never going to get a job in the veterinary clinic industry again. That lawsuit is actually still going on. Person's all depressed, all this stuff, all these behind the scenes stuff that you guys don't see that I get flooded with on a daily basis. And yes, meme coins are ridiculous. I made a ridiculous amount on Toshi and then lost a ridiculous amount the next day on Toshi from putting too much in, because you make too much and then you get with it. Let me see if I can get you guys this link real quick so we can actually get something started here. And then we'll kind of go over the charts, basic stuff, so you guys can get extra tickets for joining this live. I know everybody's kind of around the world. Portugal, it's definitely a little bit easier because you're just waking up. Tyler, I know 3 a.m. is, I don't know if you're trying to go to bed. It's a Wednesday. Let's see. Yeah, Minnesota. Let's see what we can do. HTTPS. And thanks for joining, guys. It's pretty crazy that I state something and people actually want to help with the cause. That's pretty cool to see communities come together. And everybody, you know, looking to make a profit on the exact same thing. So here is the PayPal. I don't know about the membership thing. I got to see. I don't know if that's just people being members and it's like, hey, these people are members and they joined, or if there was the donation, like you guys said, there was a donation amount, but it does not show me that. I think I may have to end the stream in order to see that. So if you guys know which amount you posted whenever you did that, put it in the chat. I wish I could hear you guys. I don't know if I can open the mic. It's not very fun talking to myself. Let's see. So we got participants are 3, 4 including Leonardo, but he's in Hawaii, so I don't think he's awake yet. And let's see. Yeah, I should probably have figured out how to use this YouTube live stream before actually getting on it. Because I want to be able to hear you guys. I can't. If you guys know how to do it, let me know. Redirect, monetization. It's none of that. It's not very fun. I don't like that. Anytime, man. One day at a time. This last year was fucking brutal. I think I can cuss on live stream because what are they going to do? Stop me from freedom of speech? We all expected XCN to take off along with Bitcoin, and then market manipulation, grab a bunch of liquidity with their sweep. But it's all planned by them, you know. It's been a 4-year cycle for Bitcoin for the past however many years, and then once the government gets involved, it kind of throws a curveball. But now that it's done its liquidity sweep, I'm wondering, oh, maybe it's this. Maybe I can switch this. Let's see. There we go. Jesus Christ. Thank you, Tyler. That's insane. One sec. Fuck. And these Spanish houses are freezing. It's like living in an ice box. It's probably warmer outside than it is inside this building right now. Yeah, I definitely need an iPad. This is what I'm using, but this I got in 2020, 5 years ago, but 32 gigabytes, like a PlayStation has a terabyte. So every time I make a video, I have to upload the video, do the thumbnails, put all that stuff in, and then make sure it works. You can hear the audio, delete the video, delete it from my iPad, and then do the next video and redo the process. It's kind of insane, but definitely helps. Let me see. So we got Tyler with 50. Then we got Leonardo is 25. Just do 26. 18. Vale. Is that not pulling up? Why is that not pulling up? Let's do this. All right. Hopefully you guys can see that now. Awesome. Now it's pulled up. There's William. Your name's William? It's not Tyler? You prefer Tyler, I assume? Right. Cool. I will not call you the other name then. All right. So we got essentially Tyler and Leonardo, and we got Junior Carlos and Jonathan in here, and Sekibula. It's different. And then Chick and D, Maria, D-Rock, Uno, Rico, and I believe that's it. It says there's 3 people in here, so I don't know where everybody else went. But right now, as far as I know, we got Tyler and Leonardo entered to win this thing, which it's essentially going back to you if this wheel works. So let's see. Let's zoom out more. You know what? Let's open this on a different. Let's do Kraken. All right, so what would you guys consider that line I just drew, the 0.01328? At this moment in time, is that considered support or resistance? I'll do this in a toll, so whatever legalities I'm held to. Boom. Yeah, and the exchange rate is ridiculous too. Whenever I first came to Spain, I was like, life's going to be cheaper. I can potentially buy a house for maybe 100,000. I don't know if the world's against me or what, but the moment I step foot into Spain, if you make over 60,000, which I don't unless it's through trading, they charge you like 47% in taxes. It's pretty ridiculous. Not only that, the moment I stepped into Spain, all food prices went up. You used to be able to get a liter of milk for 80 cents. It's now $1.75 or €1.75. The euro, whenever I first came here 2 years ago, I went to Portugal actually for a porn star party. It was an NFT project. My previous boss told me about it as a joke. I took it pretty serious, and it was like where you buy 3 pictures of buttholes of porn stars, but then it gives you entry access to meet and greet. And so that's kind of the reason I came over to Spain, and then I guess Portugal. I was in Oporto and then went to Lisbon for the party. Came to Spain to meet some girl, and then whenever I was driving back, I was driving late at night, apparently drove off the road and totaled the car. the girl I met here in Spain came, picked me up. I spent 3 months over here in Spain, went back to America, worked in Washington for quite a while, and gathered the funds to get a non-lucrative visa. And then that in itself was absolutely insane. Spent about two years working 12-hour shifts, 5 a.m. to 5 p.m., then 5 p.m. to 5 a.m., as many days a week as I possibly could. Then came over here, did more paperwork. I paid for a lawyer that did absolutely nothing. I did the work that the lawyer was supposed to do to get the visa to get over to Spain, then did the more paperwork while in Spain. I wouldn't recommend it. And for the people who are saying it is support, it is not support. That would be considered resistance because we are heading on the way up. It would be support if we broke that line and then came back down. For example, if XCN were to be pushing up like this, where we push up and then come down, then that would be considered support. But since we came up quickly, that is considered resistance. Let's get rid of these two things. Do some stuff like this. Zoom out. This is a lot more difficult on a computer. Now, this trend line that I just put in here will make it yellow. Oh, I guess I said the name. And pull. And do one more pull, so then this isn't illegal. Right. All right. So anybody else who is in here? I guess we got 9 people now. It's been 30 minutes. I have posted the PayPal link in the description above. We have about $26 from Leonardo, 100 from Tyler. Definitely puts him at an advantage to be winning the pot. I mean the competition, because it's not it's not a charity donation or whatever. YouTube doesn't allow me to consider it. But in order to win it, even if you guys are donating $2, it gives you the opportunity to be in that pot. And from what I see from the poll, I don't know how many people voted yet, but we're going to go ahead and end it. 2 votes. 2 votes, and you guys are both correct. And so this is kind of what I'm thinking for the wheel. Let's see if I can adjust this. This is still going to show up. This is picker wheel. And this is an example. So say Tyler's in there. Well, he's in there twice. Let's do by weight. So if Tyler put in 100 at $2, say that's 50. And then we got Leonardo put in 26, so that's 13. So you can see if we were to spin the wheel, Tyler has a bigger percentage or portion to potentially win the pot. Or if you guys prefer, I could type in, let's see, list of names. Whoops, that's not it. Wheel of names. This is the other version of the wheel where we could do like Tyler, Leo, Tyler, Leo, Junior. Let's see how that looks. That puts it side by side, so I'd have to separate it. A little bit more complex for me on that side, but fair enough. I'd like to give you the opportunity to win some of your money back. This wheel looks fine. All right, so anybody else interested in winning a portion of the money, let me know that if you've donated to the link I've provided, and I can get your name on the wheel. And you guys got any questions? You guys want me to look over anything while we're still in a live chat? Because after this, I'm going to be posting my input on XCN. I really wish I could make it where you guys could speak. It doesn't sound fair. I'm just talking to myself. Overlay breaks. That's not right. Pretty much any donation is the opportunity to be put on the wheel. Well, anytime. Pretty much the donations to try and get people to, it's more so because I need 100 to even pull off of YouTube, but the donations make it a little bit quicker because if it's going to PayPal 50%, I want you guys to be able to receive back, so it's not just like a money grab for me or anything like that. The other 50% is going to be divided, where 50% of that 50% is going to save the animals' lives. The other 50% is going to go to get me a microphone, and eventually, when I get enough, to get a better iPad so I don't have to delete my videos every time I make a video. And it's starting to lag out ridiculously. Like I'll click a button and it'll take 10 seconds for that button to register unless I swipe out of every app, which I only have like 2 apps running at a time, and then reopen the app or turn off my iPad, turn it back on. And then like if I try and upload something on YouTube, then it lags out all of my technical analysis charts. So I have to remove YouTube in order to use the TA. For technology, it's very, very terrible. But right now it's Tyler and Leo. So Tyler, you would be getting a portion of your money back. Let's see. Even if it's $2, it gives you the opportunity to be put on the wheel. And I actually did the wheel spin to like test the schematics of it. And it was weird because one person had a really big wedge, but the person who had a very small wedge still managed to win. So it's good to see that even if you donate $2 to get onto the wheel, it still gives you the opportunity. What was I going to look up? PayPal. Quest. Yep. So it's Leonardo and Tyler. That's who's getting the opportunity to win. And Tyler doesn't want the money, so that kind of limits the whole aspect of this too. Tyler giving Leonardo $50 or it's not very fun. And there's only 4 of you guys on here. So Jonathan, if you donate $2, it gives you the opportunity to win 5 times that. And I think that's everybody. It's been 37 minutes now. I still got to study Spanish. I can't get any job in data analytics, Salesforce, customer support, customer service, management of sales. So I am learning to teach English. Who would have fucking thought? All right. Well, let's go to here. Let's pull up TradingView. We'll talk about a coin real quick. I assume you guys prefer XCN. Take a look, get a little insight before this market starts moving. All right. So what you'll probably hear in my video, more than likely, is we bottomed out. Wish we had more money whenever we were down at this 0.00438. And the 200 EMA, this is in the 4 hour. So it looks a lot different. This blue line up here is the daily. So if we click on daily, we can see this is the 200 EMA that I have drawn in here. Zoom in a bit. And typically you get a little resistance whenever you start getting up to that 200 EMA, which we did see. We had a little bit of a pullback, but it shot up a lot more than it did retrace. So me personally, I don't like seeing this because it makes the market a little unhealthy. But at the same time, when you look at this in comparison to Bitcoin, it was necessary. Bitcoin moved up 5%, and obviously altcoins have to replicate what Bitcoin does, and this moved up roughly 153% in 2 days, which is pretty astronomical gains for 2 days. I always compare it to the stock market and how you can leave your money in the S&P 500 and maybe get 8 to 10% a year. This is why I deal with crypto, because you can get 153% in 2 days. Insane. It's absolutely insane. But what I would expect, as we see this red downward trend line, has been clear resistance. Even though this pushed up a little bit outside of that downward trend line, it got immediately pulled right back underneath it, showing that that is some pretty strong resistance. Because when you go back in time, you see that at the very first point, the second point right here did something similar, where we had the first touch at this point in February 12th, the second point around April 12th. It pushed up and out, and a lot of people were expecting this to have continuation, but this was allowing people who were trapped around that 0.28 area to either take a loss, a small loss, or just get out and wait for a better opportunity. You see it pulled down. People don't really know that this is going to be a bottom. But looking at the CM Guppy, it pushed up right at this 50 point. So if we open up my CM Guppy, you can see that you don't really know what's going on with the EMAs and what they are exactly. But I have mine as green in red or blue in green. So the blue and orange, blue is this whenever it's in support. The green is right around the 50 area. And that kind of gives you a better justification of where you might see a turnaround. So since it entered in through all these waves, these blue lines, it stopped right whenever it entered into that green area and then had a reversal back to the upside. Got that resistance, came back down all the way through the CM Guppy, but the water, as I like to call it, the liquidity, was very strong and immediately pushed it back up. But then people are buying here, it goes down, and then people are panic selling. And then the smart money is saying, okay, we are getting some support off the CM Guppy, whether they're using CM Guppy or some other indicator. For my strategy, I use the CM Guppy, and it clearly held support, tested that red downward trend line again, and then the CM Guppy could not hold support. And if you look at it a little bit closer, you could say we were building higher lows more or less right here. And once that was broken, everybody and their grandma started selling. Pushed it right back to the 200 EMA, found a little bit of support, but nothing set in stone, tested it yet again, built yet again another higher low, and then pushed right back up towards that red downward trend line. That was the last opportunity before it had just a bleed out period. It was a little bit too high price from what it was currently at, a little bit overbought. And looking at RSI, you can see that it was overbought as well. It pushed up and then needed to make that healthy retracement, came to the oversold and held through the oversold for quite a while. The main thing to keep in mind is that we had the 200 EMA that it crossed underneath, and that 200 EMA became resistance. You see it tried to get over it again, and again, and ultimately got rejected. The reason I have so many lines on my chart is because the lines just help give a better justification of what is to come. So this green and black line right here, these guys are from previous history. So we are trying to make some kind of sense off the technical analysis that is being placed in front of us, the data that is being provided. We had this orange line here as support and resistance. Clearly it broke underneath that and then shot right back up over it, not being a very strong resistance point. But the upward trend line from way back here in December of 2024, right before we had that 2,000 to 3,000% pump, upward trend line is placed here because we got higher lows. That doesn't mean that we are going to get any kind of support over here in the future, but it gives you a better justification of where you might see something happen. So we see it pulled back. It tried to hold above that trend line that is just make believe. It's nothing set in stone. And once it broke underneath that, it got shown that it was clear resistance and then had our continuation for the bleed out period. So when we go further in history, say we're taking this line that was drawn back from December and we just drag this out a little bit more. Well, we could consider that a potential resistance when we make it over this red downward trend line. So say we have something like, let's remove this. Say now that we had this push up, we get something like this, where we get consolidation and support off of that 200 EMA. Maybe we get a push up, but we could expect some resistance right within this area and potentially come all the way back down, test this red trend line as support. And with that support, then all hell will break loose and we can expect higher highs. When we get back up, when we get back up to that price target, all the way up here, we could see some resistance in this area. I have an inverse head and shoulders placed, but that's just pure speculation. There's nothing telling us that we're going to get an inverse head and shoulders. But if this were the left shoulder, this would be the head, and then we'd expect a right shoulder to play out, which means that you're not just going to keep pumping and surpass it, potentially go all the way to 5 cents. That is possible. It's just less likely because you would consider more or less this the neckline right here at the 0.5 on the Fibonacci retracement, this green box. Fibs are essentially the golden ratio. They work amazing in crypto. Let's go back. Nobody said anything, so it's going to be, this wheel spin is going to be between Tyler and Leonardo. Tyler, you may be getting some of your money back, so be prepared. The 618 has been repetitively consistent. Whenever you see major retracements, you typically see a retracement to a 618. Let's see if there's an example. If we do a fib from here to the bottom, well, what do you know? Look at that. This wick off, let's zoom in. This wick off is more or less right into the box of nearly the 618. Nothing's always perfect, but it did break through that 0.5 fib retracement, almost made it to the 618, and then had to come back down, which you are seeing right now. It is trying to hold support right on that 236, the red box. So could we see it hold on top of that red box and then start that push out? That's ideally what you want to see. I personally do not want to see this thing keep running because it makes it very unhealthy. And then you see major retracements. If you do, however, see it start to run, it breaks this downward red trend line, you would be looking at the fib from the previous high, and then you'd be looking potential resistance here at 0.016 and potentially resistance here at the 0.021. You may see a bunch of sell-off at the 0.021 because a lot of people are trapped. A lot of people would be making profit. I know some of the viewers are trapped here at 0.016, and it's unfortunate, but we are going to bypass that for sure, in my opinion. None of this is financial advice. I'm just a guy who's given my opinion. And if you guys happen to make money off of my opinion, I am happy for you because that is why I created this channel. A lot of people don't even know what I'm talking about, and I don't realize that whenever I do my daily videos. I've just been doing this for 11, 12, I'm going to go with 33% of my life. It's always easier in percentages, but 33% of my life I've been dealing with technical analysis, and the only way I know what I'm talking about is because I've lost money. I've lost a bunch of money before. And I've also gained more money than I've ever made in the crypto market, whether it be a year of, I clicked a button twice and made an entire year pay, or maybe I clicked a button twice and I lost a good couple months pay. It's a learning experience. I would rather you guys learn winning rather than learn losing. But I can guarantee you are going to learn a lot more when you lose, for sure. Let's see. Do I think Toshi still has potential to do good in this little run? How long do I think this little run is going to last? Short term, with meme coins, it's more scalp trading. We can go over that real quick. And ideally, Jonathan, if you donate $2, you got the opportunity to win 50. So just throwing it out there. Right now, it's only Leonardo and Tyler who have donated, but their portion of the pie is a little bit bigger. Let's do Toshi. So when I first got into Toshi, I saw it right around this area, this wick off. I wasn't looking at the daily. I was looking at the 4 hour to maybe even 15 minutes. You can get a lot more anxiety whenever you're dealing with 15-minute charts. But actually, I think Junior Carlos, you were asking about a coin called CC or something like that. Canton Network. This is actually another prime example of what you could expect with Canton Network. So something becomes new to the market and you see it just pump, and then it has a major sell-off because everybody who bought prior wants to get a quick gain. And then once we get up and you start seeing that U form, if we close above that previous high, even though it had that little pullback, it shot off like crazy, way up here to 0.002, dropped an entire zero, which is pretty massive. It doesn't seem like much, but dropping a single zero like we've seen with XCN, it's pretty insane. So say you entered right at that neck point, 230%. I believe I saw it run once we got over this little area, and I waited till this happened. This is on the 4 hour. So I saw this little consolidation, and I put in more money than I should have, but gained quite a bit on that right up. I think it was around, right around 152% within a few days, but then got greedy. And then I lost some money on the way down. Called it a day, tapped out, said I'm not looking at Toshi anymore because it's going to have a retracement period, because it is way too far away, way overbought from what it should be for being a meme coin, for one. We've seen it happen with Doge, but Doge essentially has a little bit more backing. We've seen that with Elon Musk and all that. But Toshi is Coinbase's coin. It's a meme coin. I never recommend putting in a ridiculous amount of money into meme coins, as you can lose it very quickly. You can get rug pulls. But we had the long downward consolidation period. Inverse head and shoulders, irrelevant, more or less, unless you're looking at the bigger picture. So we had the push up, held over the 200 EMA, got a little resistance. Let's zoom out a little bit more. Where are we at? We're here. So we had the upward trend line that was broken, and everybody and their grandma, yet again, they were testing this as support. Everybody was seeing it. They're like, okay, this is holding as pretty good support, major buy opportunity. And with that push up, that alone was 95% in a day. Comparing to the stock market, that is a couple years of your life, putting it in the S&P 500. But then it pulls back, tests support, on the 200 EMA as expected, and then gets resistance yet again. And when you say, Neil, why is this trend line here? We're not just looking at these two touches, we're going back in history from its all-time high. So we click at the all-time high, drag it down, and we see that that is essentially our resistance. When we drag it out further, where are we at? We are right here. Could you essentially say that this is going to be forming an inverse head and shoulders? That's a possibility. We are holding a little bit above the 200 EMA. That's no reason to say enter right now, but we are getting some consolidation, clear resistance off this purple line that has shown as support and resistance from previous history. And so that is our major obstacle that we would need to get above, but it also aligns with our downward trend line. So not only do we have that resistance from this yellow and purple line, but we would expect if it does push up, that the push up would potentially be around 20% before we start getting some resistance and consolidation. So me personally, even though other altcoins are doing some pretty crazy things, I would expect something to push up, get a little bit of a pullback, consolidate, and work our way over this black downward trend line. I would want to see consolidation over that, because comparing this to something like XYO, which I will bring up right now, we've seen it happen before. XYO USD. XYO, we had the downward trend line. We pushed well over that downward trend line, pulled back, held support on the 200 EMA, pushed up yet again, and then got pulled back underneath that trend line. We got our consolidation. We pushed up yet again. But for this, I would want to see this consolidate right within this area, holding, looking at the CM Guppy within that blue and green, where the blue and green meet right here. Let's see if we can zoom in. Drag this over. The blue and green, it is getting a little bit of support on the CM Guppy. So we'd want to see this consolidate and then work its way building higher lows. You could also do something similar to this, where you're drawing an upward trend line. You wouldn't want to see that broken. However, if that is broken, me personally, I would want that to be broken because it did run pretty quick. The 200 EMA is right here, right at the bottom of the CM Guppy. I would want to see this at least pull back to here, get support on that 200 EMA, and then start its run up. That would be a healthier market move. We'd have time for the RSI to work its way back into around the 50 and do its consolidation period before working on the next run up. Just because we have a major push does not mean we're going to have a continuation, but I always compare it to Bitcoin because Bitcoin is king. I prefer the consolidation in a longer period. It shows that the liquidity is building and it has more potential to start pushing upwards. How long do I think it's going to run? Toshi is debatable on how long Toshi is going to run. And Swift, yeah, Swift, when I did check that one, what was that? Swift coin, there we go. So Swift did make that move above the 200 EMA, which does make it look better. But when we are comparing this almost identical to XYO, say this purple line is the downward trend line. We consolidated nicely over it. We started more or less building higher lows like that. It's not, that's actually almost a straight line. So we could say this would be essentially a double bottom like that. So there's the double bottom. If that holds, we can expect a continuation for Swift coin. Let's zoom out This is on the 4 hour, not on the daily. 4 hour is more reliable than the daily, but we've been talking about the daily for essentially since I started the channel because it's been in consolidation and downward movement. So on the 4 hour, it is above the 200 EMA, but on the daily, it's still testing underneath that 200 EMA. You say, Neil, what are these colored trend lines? Well, they're essentially trend lines. The way you would get this type of trend line chart is just going to the Gaussian fan. It's essentially the golden ratio, similar with the Fibonacci. When we open this up and go down here, it's the Gaussian fan. And you would just click from the previous high and you can kind of place it anywhere. It's just giving you the general idea of where the support and resistance might be. So say we start down here at the 0.004 and we're like, okay, we want to go to the top. Not really much information to go off of on that. So say we want to get the trend line right here where we may have some support. Okay, you can kind of see if we remove this one, we have this trend line that was broken. It consolidated down through here and then held support on this red trend line. Did not hold very well, came down to the low. And then what happened? We got some resistance right at this blue line. You say it's data. It's almost magic, I guess, if you want to call it magic. But the way to explain it is Fibonacci is the golden ratio, and there's other different variations of it. There's a golden ratio that goes in kind of a snail shell. It's in everything in the world, essentially. Do some research on it. I don't want to sound like an idiot trying to explain it, but that is essentially what they use with the Gaussian fan and Fibonacci. It's the golden ratio. Everybody's watching. Everybody saw that could be potentially resistance. It came back into this tiny channel right here. It's more or less pinkish channel. Tried breaking into the purple, and it could not break into it, so it had a further low. And then the rest of the fan became invalid because it was at too low of a point. Swift coin, as we all know, Swift is kind of the king for what we've been dealing with in the past couple of decades. Banks taking your money. Like I was explaining earlier, when I first came to Europe, $1 was like $1 or €1.07. So like this chain that I have, this is now 275 euros, which in US dollars, that's about $320. When I first came here, it was probably $200. Pretty big difference. So when I get the $100 donation from Tyler, it's 81 euros, I think, after fees, transactions, Swift banking system. You know, a bank needs to transfer it to another bank. Everybody wants a piece of the pie, which if you guys want a piece of the pie, donate even $2 and we can get you on the spin wheel. Right now it's Tyler and Leonardo getting their money divided. 50% goes to save animals' lives. The other 50% goes to get me new tech and support the channel. And the other 50% is going back to you guys. That's what it breaks down to. It doesn't really matter what happens to the other 50% besides saving animals' lives. So Swift coin, as we're going to explain again, the daily 200 EMA is its resistance. When we zoom into the 4 hour, it looks like it's got clear support. 4 hour is more reliable. We are oversold in the overbought in the 4 hour, but it is trying to get a little bit of support. We want this purple line to cross over the yellow and start being overbought again, which would essentially be pushing this up to close above this previous high. And when we draw a line, basics say this is the previous high or this is the previous high. That's essentially the fair value gap. We want to see it run into this area where we may get some consolidation. And if we can get above that area, we can expect that continuation. Double bottom looks good. A little overbought looks a little bad. Volume is more or less decreasing, not a whole bunch of information. The volume is more or less decreasing. The price is increasing, essentially divergence, but not enough data to back that for that to be validation of divergence. When we push up, if it's the 4 hour, and here's the fair value gap, the fair value gap's right above that 200 EMA on the daily. We'd want to see some consolidation. And then the next real resistance we'd be looking at is essentially this right here. We've gotten support, resistance within this area more or less. And you could also tap another line here, another fair value gap area. So for Swift, I would like to see the 200 EMA pull back a little bit, which would essentially put this into consolidation. Push up over that 200 EMA, not fast, nothing too rapid, consolidate, hold it as support, work our way up, may get a little resistance there, a little bit more resistance here, maybe even a further pullback. You could even be testing this back down here because the 200 EMA more or less is going to be doing this thing. If it does get above that 200 EMA, we'd want to see that hold as support. And then we could expect higher highs for Swift coin. What high do I see for Swift, this altcoin? That's a good guess. That's a good question. Very good question. This is all pure speculation. As the data, there's not a whole bunch of data to be going off of, at least on this chart. Let's see if there's something different in crypto. Crypto's chart looks ridiculously different. Let's see. Flat line, period, flat line, still flat line. Jesus Christ. I guess that's a little bit more information. Or let's slap a line here. Slap a line here. Simple, right? Trading is an easy job, is what they say. It's not. It's a lot of stress and anxiety, but as you guys know, I speak monotone. I think I lost all my emotions in the crazy ride of crypto. My girl definitely does not like the emotionless, psychopathic Neil, but I don't mind. I'm just trying to make $1, you know? Just like everybody else in the market. And what a Goldman Sachs investor explained, I saw in a video. It's a pretty good explanation. He says you take $20 and you put it on the table. What do you think of the $20? And most people would say, oh, it's $20. It's like, okay, yeah, you can, buy a pizza, maybe. Inflation's pretty brutal lately. Maybe you can buy a pizza. It satisfies your wants and needs, right? Same thing with the market. People see their $100 turns into $1,000. Like, oh, think of all the things I can do with that $1,000. I can satisfy so many wants and needs. What do you think that $1,000 or that $20 thinks of you? Nothing. It's fucking $20. It's $1,000. It doesn't think anything of you. It's money. It has no brain. It's up to each individual when they think their needs and wants can be satisfied with just paper. But there are many other people out there, bigger than you, millionaires, who invested $1 million and the coin goes up 25%. They're going to sell off. They're okay with 25% and out. 25% of $1 million? Why not? The people who have a lot less money, they're going to be trying to hold on or get greedy, try and make that extra $10, whatever it may be. But there's a phrase where it's, I guess I don't know the phrase. I shouldn't be bringing it up. Essentially, pigs get slaughtered. People who are greedy are going to lose their ass or sell off early and not get the full potential of what is actually out there. The people who entered into XCN and other coins, they entered for a reason. Maybe they saw a 10x price tag. Maybe they think it's going to 42 cents, $1.20 from where we are currently sitting. I see Dahun Cowherd and Casper. I'll cover Casper here in a second. It's been an hour and 12 minutes. We have two donators, Tyler and Leonardo. So if you guys want to enter into the wheel, donate even a minimum of $2 and you have the opportunity to win a portion of roughly 100 and, well, I guess it's about $75. 50%, yeah. It's about $75 if you guys donate $2. Right now it's being divided between Tyler and Leonardo. More so, yeah. Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. But I have it located above. Let's copy this. Here is the link you can donate to. And if you donate even $2, you have the opportunity to win roughly $75. The people who have been in here did the competition, so it's not illegal for me to give out money. And the competition is essentially basic information, trend lines, and support and resistance. For SwiftCoin, let's go back to it. 618 is what I would be looking at. 618 is here at the 0.0298. But it's hard to believe, if Swift's trying to compete with XRP, Swift's been around for years, but XRP has the implementation, beat the SEC in a lawsuit. I don't know if you guys know how important that is. The SEC wins like 99.98% of all lawsuits, which is like every lawsuit ever made. The SEC wins. XRP beat them. They said, fuck you. The SEC wanted like, what was it? 100. They wanted like billions of dollars from XRP in XRP. Keep that in mind. They didn't want the dollars. They wanted $1 billion plus worth of XRP that they could keep. Lawsuit, 7 years in the making. And then after 7 years, they said, okay, we'll settle with 98% less of what we were suing you for, and we'll accept 125 million. It's like, okay. So even though you lost the lawsuit, you still gained 125 mil. That's why I always recommend XRP. But SwiftCoin is going to be trying to be doing the same thing that XRP is doing, in my opinion. I'm not sure on their infrastructure. I'm not sure on their backing of any kind. The fact that it is 0.005 and it's supposed to be Swift's coin implementation, it's lagging behind XRP, but that doesn't mean that it can't catch up. XRP was suppressed for 7 years by the SEC. And now they're up at, what, almost 260, something like that. Swift, to hit what XRP is doing, Let's get a rough estimate. Let's say it goes to what XRP was for several years. What are we at? 0.005. Say you enter in here. Say it goes to what XRP was a little bit ago. 50 cents is what it was back when I was begging all my coworkers to buy XRP, and everybody didn't listen. I don't know why. That's 7,754% potentially for Swiftcoin. I'm not saying that's going to happen. It could not even reach anywhere near that, because when you look at XRP in the past, it took it a long time to even make it to 50 cents. It did pop up to around like $3, but then drug in the mud for 50 cents for a long time. So from almost nothing to $3 would essentially be pushing this like, what is that? That's way, way, way up here. 50,000%. Is that a possibility? I'm not going to say it's not a possibility, because we've seen ridiculous things happen in crypto. Luna, for example, went up 50 something thousand% from 20 cents to like $112. Essentially, if you're buying into Swiftcoin, in my opinion, I go off of fibs, I go off the data. The data that it's showing is saying the potential is more or less 2,000%. But the data for XCN shows roughly, I think it was about 3,000%. But when I think of XCN, I think it has the opportunity to go up to 42 cents. It has the opportunity to go up to $1.32, given what crypto can do. But how long are you going to hold on to the bag? If you're buying Swift at 0.006 and it goes up to 12 cents and you gain 10 to 15x, is 15x your money worth it to you? Because you could see it go from 15x and then the next day drop another 64% and you miss the opportunity on getting that 15x. That's the same thing we're looking at with XCN. I can't predict or give you guys an estimation on what the high is going to be for Swiftcoin, but what I can tell you, it's not financial advice, is you'd want to see it cross this downward trend line. Anybody can put it on their chart. You see it's clear resistance. And if we can get above that, that's going to be getting above the 200 EMA at the same time. You could see a pullback like we saw with XYO, but I would imagine we would see some consolidation holding this as support, and the real 618 is all the way up here at roughly 3 cents from half a penny. You're no longer hearing the stories about turning a nickel into a dime. You're turning half a penny into 3 cents, which is quite a bit bigger than a nickel to a dime. That's about 400% increase in price. Stock market, 10% a year. 400%, like we've seen back here in previous history, 2-3 days. Pretty good gains. And it's not just you. There's leverage trades, there's bots, there's people with millions of dollars that are perfectly fine with selling at 400%. When we're comparing that back to XCN, what is your exit strategy? What price are you okay with? Because everybody's been waiting this entire year, essentially, for this pattern to break out and play out. When we get above the red downward trend line, we've tested it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. 3 taps to a trend line is pretty good to show that it has the possibility to break and have a continuation. 5 taps to a trend line, even better possibility to break and have a continuation. When you compare the 5 to the top, the bottom, let's zoom in. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the bottom. but clearly we got support and we pushed up to the upside. Now, if we can hold this above the 200 EMA and ease over this downward trend line, then we're waiting for that next move up. Keeping in mind the 618 is right here around the 0.031. So those of you who have entered, actually put in the chat if you guys want, the 6 of you that are still in here, what you guys entered in at, and we can kind of base the prices off of that. And then I'll do the wheels spin. We'll see who wins. If it's you, Tyler, you can decide what you want to do with the money. If it's Leonardo, I'm not sure if he's on here, but I'll make sure he gets distributed his funds. Go ahead and write in the chat what you guys entered in at, and I can kind of give you a better idea. Me personally, I am trapped. I'm trapped a little bit higher. One of my buddies was like, "Oh, what should I do when it's pumping up at way up to 5 cents?" And I was saying it's going to have a continuation. We expected the bull market to happen months ago. Oh, hey, Woozall, you made it. If you do a $2 donation, you have the opportunity to win 75 or 76, something like that, to the PayPal. And if you don't win, it's still going to save animals' lives. Oh, he did that? It doesn't tell me. I turn off notifications because I hate being notified of everything. Like Snapchat, I'll swipe away. That's like, this person you don't know is your friend on Snapchat. It's like, I don't know them. And then I'll swipe them away, and then I'll be like, this person also. It's like, I don't know them either. So notifications, I turn off all notifications. And let's see. So we got 0.04. Oh, you guys got amazing entries. That's where you guys put your whole bag in at 0.004 and 0.0043. Cool. All right. Do 10, 5. So, sorry, I'm just doing some math for the wheel. Average at 0.043. Man, you are going to make a ridiculous amount of money this altcoin season. Congratulations. I wish I had money to enter at 0.0043. Market manipulation was ridiculous. Bam! So 0.0043, 0.0048. Started accumulating 0.0026. Very good entry. Yeah, like I've explained in a couple of my other videos, this right here was the reason I started looking at XCN, kept eyeballing it, and then sometime in October, I entered and then got that first like 200% pump. Said, that's good. There's resistance at the 200 EMA. Waited for entry again, got back in at 0.002, had that pump. It pushed up over, but I knew it wasn't strong enough to just have some kind of major pump like that. Sold off, waited. And then I will tell you right here, last Christmas, did I get so much just shit from my girlfriend because I took all the money I had that I was saving for a house, not nearly enough for a house, and I put it in right here. So one Merry Christmas, my girl found out that I had put everything I owned in XCN, and begged me over and over, well, yelled at me over and over, called me names, told me I didn't know what I was doing, said I was stupid. I didn't know what the market was doing. I could lose everything. Why would I do that for a month? You know how hard it is to tell somebody to fuck off for a month when you live with them. You can't do anything. I said, Jerome Powell is going to say some stuff in this upcoming month. I promise I will pull out some money on January 20th. January 20th was right here where we had the consolidation. So I love being right. They don't like it when you're right, but 273% was not bad. However, I pulled out some and then rode the rest for the remainder of the 1,000%. We saw that we had the pullback, major pullback. Nobody knew that we were going to have a tap out here. The only real information we get from that is going to previous history. So this is where we had some support and resistance. This game, it's like the Super Bowl's on 24/7, 7 days a week, never stops. It's all psychology. It's more psychology than it is numbers. And that's why if you guys, some of you are members, you've probably seen one of my videos where my bars are not red and green because I get anxiety. Even though I lack emotion, I have anxiety with red and green bars because you'll see it pump and you'll be like, that's a massive green candle. It's going to keep going. But with blue and orange, for me, it's more tranquilo. It's more calm, smooth. It's like, okay, we got a blue bar, great. And then it helps with like the psychology because you're not saying green is go, and then you see a little bit of red and you're like, oh, it's going to be a major sell-off. That's not the case. It's a little bit of a sell-off. We're getting a star forming here where you get the little wick off up, little wick off down. But essentially, we want to see some consolidation over that 200 EMA. Let's see what the chat's saying. Awesome. I got your payment, Woozall. We'll make sure you're in the wheel. And yeah, tell me about it, right? Tell me about it. Say you didn't work 2 years to accumulate thousands to invest in the market because you know yourself better than what the market's going to do. Black and blue is good too. There you go. Yeah, just napping. But essentially, telling anybody you're trading is not the best, in my opinion. It was a ridiculous Christmas trying to explain to somebody who you try and teach them the charts and they think, I mean, there's people who don't know anything about technical analysis or trading in general and do amazing because they don't know what they're doing. They're like, looks good. I'm going to enter now. And they can be more profitable than somebody who's a professional trader or somebody who's been doing it for many years. But don't let people tell you what to do is my thing. It's your money. Use it when you need it. Call JG Wentworth, 877 cash now. I don't know. We're essentially waiting for a consolidation period. They did what? Changed you from your trade to being a trader in the tax department? Oh, you're essentially saying pay taxes. Yeah. I'd recommend everybody getting a LLC, but when I looked into it, LLCs, they cost like $8,000. So unless you're going to be profiting a ridiculous amount or not selling a portion to pay for your LLC and then transferring your funds from your account to your LLC underneath a trust, and then that trust doesn't get taxed on the remainder of your money, unless you got $8,000 sitting around that you can be putting into an LLC knowing that you're going to be making more than $8,000. LLC is the best way to evade taxes. That's not tax evasion advice, but it is what it is. Because I rent. Nice. You got 2 houses then. And you're in Australia, no? I'm glad it's entertaining for you. It's been an hour and a half and I haven't realized it. I still got stuff to do. I got to clean the dishes. I got to make lunch and dinner. I got to do a video. I got to study some Spanish. I got to study some English. And I got to do a wheel spin. Nice. Yeah, I saw there's this thing where it's like 5 guys got together, collected $50 every day for a month or something, and then were able to buy their own house. I had to exit the country for the opportunity to buy a house, and still, like I was saying at the beginning of this chat, the moment I stepped foot in Spain, everything went crazy. It started hailing in August. It's never hailed in Sevilla, Spain. It's 114 degrees in the summer. Nobody goes out during the day. There was a tornado that destroyed Valencia. And then France sent in people to help clean the streets of Spain. And Spain's government said, we don't need your help, sent France back. And then the people of Spain had to clean Valencia because the government wouldn't clean it for them. I don't know. The world's crazy. I don't know. I'll bust out Cookie DAO real quick, and then we'll do the wheel spin, and then I got to clean the dishes and create a video for the viewers. Cookie DAO, I've brought it up a few times. Haven't looked at it for a while since it didn't hold support. I don't think this was the best chart. Excuse me. Bybit. No, maybe that was the best chart. I think I had it on something different though. I don't even know about that. Pith? Nope. Perpetual? I don't know what I had Cookie DAO on. I don't want to give you perpetual because that's going to be USDT. MEXC. That's probably what I had. There we go. That's some data. Cookie DAO USDT. It's actually looking kind of like Swift, huh? Downward trend line. Let's do this. It's not really the best trend line, is it? Let's check this out. Let's try it with like what I described earlier. Let's do a Ganfan. It's a pretty big range for Cookie DAO. Let's see. You can see in this orange, it tried more or less staying within that channel, got support on the 200 EMA, broke down within this wedge here. And then we had all this room to run. So it could be going all the way up here. It could be going all the way down here. But we held above the 200 EMA, and then like magic, it got resistance on that line on the Ganfan. Came back down, tried to hold support, and then it would have had all this room to run. But we had this downward trend line, more or less, nothing real certain. That it got some resistance, consolidation underneath that 200 EMA on the daily at least. liquidity sweep was that October 10th. You better believe it. That was the liquidity sweep, market manipulation right there. But we had the continuation down, letting the people who were bearish get out, more or less at the same point where bulls got in. Little bit of consolidation. And then what I would also draw in here, horizontal line, boom. There's more or less the bottom from previous history. And that's essentially what you could see a further continuation, but keeping in mind we're piecing together bit by bit, downward trend line. We are slightly crossing over that, and we don't want to see quick movements. We want to see a slow consolidation because that thins out the CM guppy. I'm not sure if you guys know what I mean by thinning out. I hope that's a good thing. I don't know if my parents even like me and how I sound, but let's see. Thinning out the CM guppy is ideal because the way I like to see it, if you guys have ever been to a water park where they have those inner tubes where you can sit on them and then they have jets of water. I went to one last year as my first time, but the water pushes you down, then they have jets that blast the tube up to give it momentum to go down the next part of the slide. And the water is pushing down, but it is starting to build up. We're starting to build a base here. You could even draw a line from here, this being essentially the fair value gap, right? Because we got support, we have resistance multiple times, and then we have it as support. So roughly this is fair value gap. There's a possibility of liquidity sweep, grab a bunch of money that's waiting to enter right here. But the CM guppy is getting pretty thin. We are wedging our way over it. So like I was explaining with the water, we want to see it cross the water. The red will start turning into gray like this right here. This is gray. And then it flips to green and you get that major bullish momentum. So if we can get over the CM guppy, see, we push up, get it as support, and then more than likely, we are going to get a little resistance off that 200 EMA. There is the possibility to be pushing up towards this blue trend line, which, like magic, more or less, we'll see a little bit of rejection, get that as support, and then we have all this room to run. All that for Cookie Dow. And if you're waiting for the perfect entry, you're waiting for it to cross this blue line or hold support on that 200 EMA. That is more or less 247% potential profit. If you are risking it for the biscuit and you're entering in right now, yes, you are going to have a little bit better ROI, 539 potential percent, but that is playing more of a risky game than entering once it gets support and stability over that 200 EMA. But like we saw with XCN, it just blew past it and gave pretty good profits for that major movement upwards. Maybe, it's 5 cents now. I believe we are going to have a little bit of consolidation, keeping in mind the bears can only push this thing to zero, right? That's the downside of if you're being a bear. To zero is essentially here, more or less. 195% loss, whatever it may be. That's you essentially risking it to give it up, entering at this price point. But if you're entering at this price point, you're giving yourself the opportunity to get almost 600%. It's not the wisest move to be entering in at this point because we are still getting resistance off that 200 EMA. But keep in mind, Bitcoin is pushing up. It's going to be pushing the rest of the market up with it. And so pretty much almost anything that you're entering into, you are going to see a pump. You want to keep in mind there's going to be resistance here because of the previous resistance. And there's going to be resistance here. Get rid of this. And now let's check the chat. I probably missed out on some stuff. And that's awesome, Woozle. They got you as a landlord. That was my idea. I was like, all right, I got some money saved from the US. I'm gonna come over to Spain. I'm just gonna put a major down payment on a house. Rent used to be $300 a couple years ago. $300, and now it is, I think my rent for a 3-bedroom house is like 550 in euros. So in US, that's about 650 maybe. But now downtown Sevilla is like $1,000 for rent, and you got to keep in mind, like, the average person getting paid here is maybe 1,000, maybe 1,200. The taxes are ridiculous here. I wouldn't recommend it. It's great. I mean, you got the beaches an hour away, the mountains an hour away. There's a place called Granada where any bar you go to, you buy a beer, you get free food. I went to one bar, it was 30 seconds. I walked in the door, said una cerveza, una tinto verano, got a beer, a wine with lemon Sprite, whatever, and a plate of paella for €6. So it's definitely possible to live. Sevilla is definitely getting more expensive. The euro is like 17% more expensive than the US dollar. It's crazy. Let's see. I'll answer one or two more questions. Then I'm going to do the wheel spin, and then I'm going to end this because it's been 2 hours. I still got to do a lot of stuff today. I got to sweep the house too, and mop. Let's guess a timeline for there. I can't guess a timeline. Nobody knows the timeline. My guess personally is Q1, Q2, we're going to see some major movement. Obviously, Q1, we've seen some major movement already, a couple 100% in 2 days after the whole Venezuela thing. And for Amelia, been in it all year long, just bleeding an average. 0.0978 for which coin, Amelia? For cookie? 0.0978. So you were probably looking at it right around here. I was looking at Cookie Dow actually right around here too. Upward trend line, it broke below that. And you see, we held on the 200 EMA, had a push up, but it did not hold above that, which gave it pretty strong resistance. But since it's been in a bleeding out period and a long consolidation, that's essentially what you want to see when crossing a trend line. You don't want to see anything quick because then it's going to retrace back down to that trend line more than likely. Long bleed out period. I'm going to show you real quick. Demo. This is one I like to use as a reference. Demo, I saw this back here. Back in July of 2023. And I was watching on the 4 hour. So this looks a lot different on the daily. If I pull up the 4 hour, it's going to drag me to this day, and then I have to go back in time. But essentially you get this pattern, the major push up, and then this is only 2 days. We've obviously been dealing with that with Cookie Dow for a lot longer, but the longer the bleed out period, the higher the pump. So even though this is 2 days, it pushed. Everybody was freaking out, trying to sell. Here did it push? Pushed up. What is that? 120%. before a bleed out period, pushed up again. Let's remove this. Roughly 162%. And a lot of people are selling off and then they're re-entering in at this price point. So they gained their 162%, but there was still a lot more to go before this thing even died. So say they're like, okay, it's holding on the CM Guppy. Everything's looking good. It's not retracing all the way to the 50% mark on the CM Guppy. And then you get that bull candle, boom, another 115%. Major reduction, almost a 50% reduction, which gave those people another opportunity to enter again. And the people who are still holding, oops, let's see right here, opportunity of another 254%. So even though Cookie DAO, yes, Salir, computer's in Spanish. I don't even know half the words in Spanish. So Cookie, let's bring it back up real quick, and then we'll do the wheel spin and end this thing. I appreciate you guys joining, so it's not just me talking to a computer. I wish I could make it where you guys can talk too. But long bleed out period, this is in the daily. Let's look at it. 4 hour is more reliable, also causes more anxiety for sure. But essentially, we want to see this maintain its consolidation and get more support volume to pick up. Even though it is consolidating, it is decreasing in price. The volume is decreasing, so we wouldn't consider it divergence. We need to see some volume come into Cookie DAO for this to start push up. Me personally, I do also have some Cookie. It is trapped at the moment because I didn't put in a whole bunch. I kind of just put it in to see what would happen. Not the smartest idea. Definitely keep an eye on your coins. Don't diversify to a point where you're just okay with leaving money trapped in there for years. You want to be able to pull out and not get trapped with everything. Every coin is red except XCN. I feel you. No, yeah, my account itself fluctuates by the thousands. So over the past weeks, months, you see it going down $1,000, $1,000, $1,000 from bad entries. But I do the risk to reward. Yeah, it may go down 80%. Yeah, I may be able to get that entry in a little bit better, but I'm also taking this massive of a hit. How much more coin am I going to be able to buy if I take that big of a hit? What if I take that hit, then it reverses? But overall, we're waiting for altcoin season to take off. Even if you are in the red, almost everything that you own, if it's your first time into crypto, it's going to be green. It's the matter of holding on and how long you can hold on. Because a lot of people are going to be selling off here whenever XCN goes to 5 cents. And then there's people called the diamond hands, which are going to be holding on to 10 cents. Those people are going to be selling off. I assume there's going to be a massive sell-off at 10 cents. And then we're going to have a major pullback. I keep saying this is the last thing, but there's so much information that I can be bringing up in live chat that I can't in a video. I just speak once and hope you guys get the point. This is in the 4 hour. So it's definitely holding on these 3 or 4 lines into the CM Guppy. And you can see in the 4 hour, this thing, it gets irritated with these top 2 lines. It's starting to build support on that CM Guppy. So we could see this just like I explained with Demo, where it does the bleed out period, but it does the U form. And then once it breaks the previous high here at around a penny, then it has another pump to the upside. It pushed way overbought and is trying to consolidate on the overbought so it can easily push to the overbought yet again. Could we see it push up to this red trend line and then get a pullback? Yes, that's still a possibility. Once we see this thing getting pushed up and in the 4 hour, we start seeing these blue lines, whether it crosses 3 or 4 of those and does not pass any further, I call it fire. It's lighting the fire underneath the coins and it just keeps getting burned higher and higher. If we go back in time, let's go back to the almighty pump. That was thousands of percent. That really got everybody interested. Looking at this is the 4 hour. Zooming in, we see we had the pump, came back in, held on top of these blue lines, roughly the 3 or 4, but did not get near the 50% mark on the CM Guppy. Had that push up, came back, got fire underneath it on the first to second line, pushed right back up, may have tried it once again, but still came back up. It had the fire lit underneath it, pushed it to 0.009. And then you see this little wick off. This scares a lot of people. They say, oh, it went up hundreds of percent. Everybody's selling off. Nope. Psych. Pushed all the way up to around 0.016 before everybody said, all right, amount decreased in price exponentially, like 50% reduction in price. The people who held on, they may be selling at this major reduction in price, only to be followed up by a major bull run again, giving the people who are trapped up here the opportunity to get out, or the bears who thought it was going to have a continuation, they're getting stopped out as well. Pushed back in 3 or 4, right around the 50, but held that as support on the CM Guppies. See the blue line meeting the green, pushed up, and then even though it was thinning out, turning a little gray, starting to get people to wonder if it was the end of the game for XCN. Then the almighty push up, came back. These major wick offs, you see them now, but whenever you're riding the wave, people are panic selling. They're selling off because they think it's going to have a cross all the way down to the CM Guppy, but it only crossed in partially before everybody said, nope, that is too cheap, bought it right back up. And that major wick off, that is why the channel is called NC Hammer, because this right here is essentially a hammer. Even though we had this push down, we had a blue candle right after. The red was trying to push, or I guess orange was trying to push this. If this orange closed below this blue, that would essentially be a bearish engulfing, and we could expect a further continuation downwards. It did not close below this blue, and so we had this little wick off and pushing up to all-time highs that we know of. For XCN, there is no time frame. You cannot time the market. You can just do your best to try and make educated guess or educated guesses on the market. My educated guess is we are still waiting for this to be broken and hold as support. For those of you who are entered in at 0.004, you guys are set. You don't even have to sell whenever it does major pullbacks. For the people who are trapped, maybe you want to do a scalp. Maybe you guys want to start learning how to scalp trade. But keep in mind, if you are doing scalp trades, you get the pushes up and then it pulls back, and then you enter, say, at like 2 cents, and then you just start seeing it bleed out, bleed out, bleed out, and you're just watching your profits that you had disappear. So me personally, as I explained to somebody in the comments, I recommend pulling like maybe 20 to 25%. Pay yourself 50% of that because you've been waiting months for this to happen. And then once you pay yourself, how's it going? I don't know how to say your name, but pay yourself 50% of the 20 to 25% if you are scalping, and wait for your reentry. Because if you reenter, say you reenter at that 2 cent mark and it starts to bleed out, you have your 50% of that 20% in your bank account. Good job, you profited it. But if it starts bleeding out, you're only losing a 50% portion of the amount that you made, if that makes sense. You can have more confidence and less anxiety knowing that you already profited, and the only 50%, it may be bleeding out. You've dealt with the bleeding out period for this entire year in XCN. So it is going to turn around and go up. Maybe you'll get a better exit strategy on the next move up. Say it pushes up to round 3-2, you sell off and you watch a return, and it starts building, maybe it starts building some consolidation here around 0.026, and then you have your entry, and then you gain all that extra percentage on the next ride up. You're scalp trading, you're buying a ticket for $50, selling it for 200, doing it again, which actually brings me to Ethereum. I got a free ticket to a concert one time, and I sold it to a guy for 5.55 Ethereum when it was back at 200 something dollars, I think. He didn't want to deal with any crypto, and he sent it to me. So that was a very nice come up because Ethereum went to a couple grand. So word of the wise, sell off portions. Don't sell everything at once, because then if you want to re-enter, then you're dealing with that pullback that could be 50% and you start bleeding out. Always, whenever you're selling off, pay yourself 50% first, and then you can deal with the rest. Whether you continue profit or you're bleeding out, at least you got paid. And for the people who are new here, right now we got Woozall, Tyler, and Leonardo who are in on the wheel. And I'm going to do the wheel here now. Here's the PayPal link. I'll give you the opportunity to send money. 50% is going to be divided between whoever wins on the wheel spin. The other 50% of that is going to be to support the channel and help me get an iPad or a microphone so you guys can get better TA. And then the other 50% of that is going to save animals' lives. I just wanted to be able to give back to you guys for being subscribers and donators. It's always appreciated. It's pretty cool to see that my words can bring a community together, and everybody who wants to trade or learn how to trade crypto, you guys can profit off that as well. So even if it's $2, it allows you to be put on the wheel, Amelia, or I don't know how to say your name, man. APNCBAPE. I don't even know if I could accent that right. Is that Hungarian, or is that? I don't know what that is. I can't even say your name because I don't know how to say it. Let's check it out. So got 80, more or less 100. In euros, it's about $107, more or less. So 50% of $107, about $50 to $60. So even if you donate $2, you have the opportunity to win 50 or 60. And I think I remember you saying it was Greece. Aries. If you send something, man, I'm about to spin this wheel. So even if it's $2, you get the entry to potentially win 60. And if you don't want, just let me know and I'll get this wheel spinning. Oops. Do you guys know if I can turn it where you guys can speak? I don't like speaking by myself. This is not cool. Oh, no. That's dumb. I don't like that. YouTube needs to fix that. All right, cool. So it's between Woozall, Leonardo, and Tyler. That'd be 50 different Tylers. We'll do the wheel spin in this form, weighted. Otherwise, I have to type in 50 Tyler names. So Leonardo's 13 and that is the proportional ratio that we have so far. All right. You guys cool with that, or you want to do the other wheel where I type 50 Tylers and 13 Leonardos and 5 Woozalls? Yay, nay. Actually, you know what? Yeah, we'll stick with that. Any questions? Any concerns? Anything at all before I do this thing? I think I can change the. Oh, this just looks like Virus City, doesn't it? Mystery wheel. Mystery wheel. That's this. That does nothing. Labels. I don't know. I don't know what that is. All right, you guys ready? Actually, I think let me check, make sure I'm not leaving anybody out. Receive GIF membership, because here in the chat at the very beginning of this, we have Rico Hawk, Uno Dos, D Rock, Maria, Chicken D that did a membership thing. I don't know what that is, but I assume they sent money, no? You guys think I should add them? The Rico Hawk, Uno and D Rock, and Maria and Chicken D, or no? It's up to you guys. Let me know in the chat, and then I'll spin this, and then I'll go do some dishes, sweep and mop the floor, make a video for YouTube, study some Spanish, study some English, cook lunch and dinner, and then that's my day. All right. Let's see, Rico Hawk. Oops. Oh, I'm doing that on the wrong one. Damn it. and 2 more. Maria and last guy. This will probably be uploaded to YouTube. You can probably go back through all the information that I provided. And I personally think 2 cents is inevitable pretty easily. I think we're we're going to get some resistance here at 5 cents, and then if we can break 5 cents, there's no real resistance to stop it from running to anywhere from 7 before a little resistance, and then 10 cents major resistance with a major pullback, potentially all the way to 6 cents is my guess. It's just pure speculation, nothing set in stone. But if you see a major run up, that's when you're going to be looking to sell some, or at least 20% of your bag or 50%, however you feel comfortable. And then after that major pullback, it's like a slingshot, you know, you got to, when it shoots way up, it's going to retrace. But with that retracement, it's got the 200 EMA, the CM Guppy just ready to slap it and shoot it into the next all-time high. All-time high is 18 cents. And almost all cryptocurrencies, what we've seen, unless they've been a rug pull, they tend to reach their all-time high and then if not double. So that's why my price prediction for XCN is even potentially 42 cents. I know it's a little far-fetched, but it could even hit $1.30. There's no way to really know, because it's like XRP. Once it hits over like 360, something like that, it's in price discovery. And price discovery is whatever people say it's going to be. And it's definitely completely undervalued for XRP. XCN, like I've stated, is correlation to XLM, and XLM is essentially in the XRP network. So say things that XLM and XRP can't transaction with, XCN will be able to help them correlate in that process. Don't quote me on it, but I mean, I invested in XCN when I first saw it because I know there's still major potential to the upside. People, we've been bleeding out for a year now, and it's shaken out a lot of hands. A lot of people gave up on it, but there's still a very long way to go. That's kind of why I assume you guys have entered into XCN in the first place. But trading isn't quick money. It's off. Well, I guess that's not true. It can be quick money. It can be more money than you've ever imagined very quickly, but you can also lose it all by doing one wrong click. Maybe you do a leverage trade and you put in $1,000 and it just blipped out, and that's it. I've had buy stops and sell stops on Bitcoin on the way up and down, and it goes exactly to my sell stop and then goes the opposite direction. That's why I stopped using sell stops and buy stops, because I could have a sell order. I'm like, oh, I made a good amount of money. I'm going to put in a buy order just above that, because in order for it to tag that, it would have to go up and potentially close above the previous high, which would mean it would be a continuation. So I'd get money on the way up, and it'll go up, tag your buy stop, and then tank. So it's not easy money. That's good. it's good that you haven't sold yet, even though you're almost at break even. A lot of people will be selling off at break even and not enjoying the true profits that are yet to come. Always accepting 10% donations. Give 10% to your church. Oh. All right, you guys ready? We're gonna go ahead and spin this. Tyler, you are the winner. Much appreciated. Well, let's see. That means the total would be going, or I guess $50 is going to Save Animals Lives, which means I can pull that now and actually have it set aside for the surgeries. The other 50% or $50 is going, maybe $60. I think $60 for the pets, and then $60 for, I'll get a new microphone. And hopefully then when I get enough money to get a new iPad so I can give you stuff that's not lagging out, then that will be going towards that. So much appreciated always, everybody who has joined the live feed for the first time. I need to find a different way because I'd like to hear you guys speak instead of typing. Hey, Quick Laughs. I think you missed it by a second. 1 second. But Tyler was the winner. And I may be doing another live stream. It depends on when you guys want it. Potentially whenever we start seeing XCN start running. I didn't even expect the live stream to go on this long. I thought it'd be like an hour, but here we are. It's 12:30, and I have cleaning to do and food to make and stuff to study. So I'll try and bust out an XCN. Sorry you missed it. Quick Laughs. I'll try and plan it. Maybe we'll do it at noon next time. If you guys want this weekly, monthly, or whatever, type it in the comments or leave a comment on the next video I make, and we'll kind of go from there. I may just cover XCN on the next video. I'll make sure members get an extra video if I can bust this out. But the whole kitchen's dirty. I got to do some cleaning. And thank you guys again, much appreciated. And I will see you on the next one. Good luck. Have fun with it. We will all profit here in the upcoming months, guaranteed. Especially if you guys are in XCN or XRP, I can guarantee that. But you guys have a good day. Much appreciated. Adios.